Hi guys, so after using the Blackberry Key2 for 3 weeks straight, I think I can give you a good review. So let's go ahead and take a look, baby. Alright guys, if you're watching this video, you're probably interested on a smartphone with the keyboard. There's not a ton of Android smartphones you can buy these days that actually come with a physical keyboard, or any kind of smartphone. Alright, my first ever smartphone is actually the HTC 8125. I think I bought this around 10 years ago. I don't want to make this about this phone, I'll actually have a review of it, but this has a flip out keyboard, a full QWERTY keyboard. You could type really fast on this. This was actually my very first smartphone that I bought. That's actually smart, had a keyboard. It even has a mouse pad, function buttons. Actually, this phone is out of this world. It's even got a dedicated camera button, IR sensor. Hey, it even has an S Pen. This thing was way ahead of its time. Alright, but we'll get into that. So that's my first smartphone. And the reason why I bought this, obviously because I wanted to type faster. I think back then, the touchscreen was so laggy, you actually needed a hardware keyboard. And I think that's where Blackberry really shined, because back then, touchscreens were very laggy. If you grew up with phones like this, and now we have big smartphones like the Galaxy Note 8, the Galaxy Note series. I love this phone, not because the screen is big, but the screen is so big that typing on this is really easy and I can type really fast. So the biggest question, do you actually need a physical keyboard? I would say this is definitely not for everybody. There's a lot of people who grew up with physical keyboards like I did and grew up with the smartphone technology. There's a lot of young people that never ever use a physical keyboard on a smartphone. If you're in that second boat, you've never actually used a physical keyboard, there's gonna be a very steep learning curve in just trying to get used to the keyboard. And you know what? Unless you use this every single day, I would say for at least a few months, you're not gonna be able to take advantage of what Blackberry has to offer. I know this because when I had the Blackberry 8830, about 10 years ago, I could type really fast, but that did not happen overnight. It took me several months to get used to the keyboard. And what really happens, I will do a quick test here, and what happens is as you use the Blackberry more often, especially on a word like pretty where I type P-R-E-T-T-Y. You see how R-E-T-T-Y, these are all 4 letters that are very connected together. And over time, what happens is that you get very used to it, and you could literally type this just by feel. It is really hard to explain if you ever not used a Blackberry before. Let me do a quick test here and go as fast as I can and see what kind of score I can get here. Okay, I know those scores are pretty abysmal. Alright, I can average about 30 to 40 on a touchscreen. Even as a previous Blackberry user, because I haven't used a Blackberry for about 10 years. I think it's actually going to take me another few months to actually get used to it. But I think once I get used to the keyboard, I'm going to be able to type really fast. But I want to show you some of the problems with the keyboard itself. And the real problem is actually whenever you have to do capital, the shift key for doing capital is over here. So when you're doing letters on this side, you're gonna have to bring your right finger all the way here and type capital E. Alright, that's where it slows me down the most. Also, whenever I have to type numbers, I'll have to hold down the Alt key like that. And also the period, I'll have to hold down the key like that. Alright, I don't quite exactly remember how the 8830 was, but I remember it was a lot easier than this. So that's part of the problem, not allowing me to type fast. Now, if Blackberry can somehow solve the capitalization issues, the number issues, make it more ergonomical, easier to type, then I think we have a winner here. But the keyboard right now, it is just too cramped, it's very narrow. I'm 5'9", I probably have slightly larger than average hands. I have some calluses from playing a lot of golf. You can see there. These are like literally 30-year-old calluses I've been getting since I was young. I find that the keyboard is too narrow. All right, how narrow is it? I mean, in terms of how wide this keyboard is, I think that's also a huge problem because I would say the OnePlus 6 is the narrowest I would go for comfortable typing. It's already narrower than that. And look at the keyboard real estate, how wide it is, all right, and how tall it is versus the Note 8. and it's very short and narrow. All right, I'm just being painfully honest here. Most new flagships these days, even the smaller, let's say S8 or S9, right? Even the S8 will give you much bigger space to type. The width is about the same, but you're still gonna be able to customize the keyboard up, make it much taller. So I think the biggest problem with the Blackberry Key2 is not the keyboard itself, but the size of the keyboard. This is made for people with small hands. It is definitely not made for people with large hands, because even for me, I feel very cramped. I'm thinking if Blackberry wanted to hit home run, which I really want them to do, is for them to make two different sizes, just like how Samsung does it. That's why they have the S9, S9 Plus. If you have small hands, go with the S9. If you have large hands, go with the S9 Plus or the Note 8. In comparison, Blackberry only offers you one size. So I think that's a huge mistake there. And if you guys are listening at Blackberry, guys, just make two different versions and you will sell a ton more. Go even look at iPhone. iPhone copied Samsung and made iPhone XL. All right, iPhone 7 Plus, 10 Plus. I'm not very familiar with iPhone, but I know they copied Samsung and made bigger phone, all right? So I honestly feel like this is a very small phone in comparison to the smartphone standards right now. If they simply made it slightly wider, slightly bigger, it would hit home run. Now, this size might be perfect for you. All I can tell you is go try it yourself. I think they have it at Best Buy. So go try it yourself. Go try typing on it. See if you're comfortable with it. And you know, this could be the perfect size. But for the rest of us who likes to use phablet, bigger size phones like Note 8, S9 Plus, you're gonna be disappointed simply because it's just too narrow. I just want to point that out. All right, but one good thing I realized while using the Blackberry, especially when I'm walking my dog. All right, let's say with OnePlus 6, usually I'm walking my dog, I got my phone in one hand and I'm gonna try to start a Periscope or something, and I only have one hand to type. So I'm gonna go here and say, I'm gonna try typing it here. Hello there. That doesn't seem like a lot of problem because my elbow is resting on the desk. Now, if I'm free-handing it, it's a lot harder. And every time I press a letter, there's not really something to anchor on. And something that's really helped with the Blackberry is that every time I type something, you have an anchor. You can use the keyboard itself because there's angles. You can use it as an anchor point and type one-handed without dropping your phone. Hopefully not. So someone asked me if you could type with one hand on the Blackberry Key2. You sure can. And let me go ahead and demonstrate. Let's go ahead and just type something. My name is Maxi, all right? So I'm gonna type my, N-A-M-E is Max. All right, it's not perfect, all right, but it is a lot easier than touchscreen. One thing I do really like about the Blackberry Key2, the keyboard will light up at night, which is very nice. I find that really nice at night. You don't have to look at that bright LCD. You can clearly see the letters without adding glare in super darkness. All right, I didn't really want to talk about the size of the keyboard, but you know what? When I buy phones that I could type fast on because I'm a keyboard warrior. And if you're a keyboard warrior, you know you want a phone that you could type fast. I'm not saying that you can't type fast on this, but if you do have large hands, if you're used to typing on larger devices, even with a keyboard, it might not help. So DYOR, do your own research before buying. Go try the keyboard before you buy it. And even though it does take quite a time to get used to the keyboard, you know, you can sort of tell if it's cramped or not. And I don't know, from day one, the keyboard just didn't seem as big as the one I used on a Blackberry before. But I'm gonna keep using my Blackberry Key2 and I'll have another review in 3 months to see where I'm at. But right now I'm averaging about, at best, about 30 words per minute on the Blackberry Key2, maybe a little bit higher on the touchscreen. I'm almost there. I just know that if the keyboard was just a little bit bigger, I could go 40 words per minute, no problem, or even 50. So the only real reason you should buy this phone is the keyboard, right? The keyboard. Keyboarded. Oh, we'll do a quick Korean lesson. How to say keyboard in Korean accent. Keyboard. Keyboard. All right, there you go. Even if you didn't buy a Blackberry, you'll learn something new by watching my channel. All right, let's go on to the next topic here. Let's talk about the design. Yeah, I know we talked about design many times, but this phone is very well built. All metal, unibody, you know, sort of boxy. It is one of those rare smartphones you don't need to use a case. All right, the screen is protected by this lip that's formed. All right, there's a small amount of gap that's formed when you drop your phone between the display. which helps it protect the screen. This is a very durable phone. In terms of bezels, you got that much crush zone, all right, before it hits the display. I actually really dig the build. It is built like a tank. I really like it. Now, the screen is only 4.5 inches long. That's not gonna let you win any contests. If you want a long display, this is not gonna give it to you. If you wanna watch like Netflix, YouTube videos in landscape mode, this is not 2018, guys. This is a 4.5 inch screen on a device that's much longer. So I know it's tough to do. Maybe for the next version, BlackBerry has to make this flip out keyboard, or maybe even have a landscape. I really love my Epic 4G Touch because it's landscape. All right, let me go ahead and type something for you. Hello there. After BlackBerry, I moved on to the Palm Pre, which was okay, that was still portrait, and then I moved to, I think the next and the last physical keyboard I've used is actually this phone here. And I really dig this keyboard. I know this is not BlackBerry style. If you put the keyboard landscape, BlackBerry can also become a gamer's phone. Let me show you an example of that. So let's say you want to play Minecraft, and if the keyboard was on the bottom, you would be able to use the AWSD to go forward, backwards, left, and right. But unfortunately, for most games that you could really take advantage of by having a physical keyboard, they're all in landscape. I don't know if you guys ever played Minecraft on your smartphone, but the controls are just junk. But if you could use your keyboard, it would make it so awesome. Another game that would be very good for this would be like something like PUBG. Because most games that require better controls than using the touchscreen, they all run in landscape. I think having this option would make it perfect because all of these keys actually work just fine without setting up anything special. They all work out of the box. It just, BlackBerry put the keyboard over here. All right, and you will notice you can actually control everything using the keyboard. Oh, you know what? You can use it as a touchscreen. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right, but, oh wow, why don't I flip it this way? Oh my god! That's so cool! Alright, sorry, you know what? Let me take that back. Because you can use a keyboard as a touchpad, this actually works quite well. Now here's the thing, I tried to do that on Minecraft, it doesn't work, it's not compatible. But I would really like to see maybe another version of BlackBerry. I mean, they have all the resources to make something like this possible on this, especially the younger generation that play a lot of games. Having something like this flip out, it's going to allow you to use a full screen and also have a full keyboard that's much easier to use. I mean, let's just imagine these both had the same specs. Let's say this had the latest Snapdragon processor, you know, everything the same. Which one would you pick? I mean, I would definitely pick this one. And this just simply is a good idea. And I don't know why companies stopped making it. This is a Galaxy Epic 4G Touch. This is actually Samsung's first or second iteration, but only the Sprint version of the Galaxy phone had a keyboard. That could have been why, but I don't know why BlackBerry couldn't do this, all right? I know BlackBerry is known for portrait keyboard, but they're masters of keyboards. Make something like this. Every single millennial in America will buy this. All I'm saying, BlackBerry, maybe it's time to innovate. And I know this is really mainly for the business market, but open up and make something like this. And you know what? Having something like this would be my dream phone because you're gonna be able to type fast, enjoy your full screen, and also play games. So yeah, BlackBerry, I just gave you like $1 million idea. If you guys do make that phone, make sure to send me some Bitcoins. Or you can send Dogecoins too. I love Doge. Okay, let's talk about the camera again. If you need a decent camera, this will give you decent shots. But the front-facing camera is not very good at focusing, especially if you get too close to your subject. It'll just simply blur it out. You have to actually hold it at least an arm's length. Otherwise, it's just not going to focus. So for those of you who take a lot of selfies, this could be a problem, especially for the ladies. All right, maybe you're meeting somebody famous in New York City. You pop your phone out right next to your idol, take a photo, and it's blurry. This is a huge problem. All right, I got this phone for free. BlackBerry sent it to me. But I'm always going to give you my honest opinions. And the front-facing camera focus, it's just like from a third world country, man. Why they even do this, yo? Who's the camera engineer who put this Crappy focus on the front camera. It is really, really horrible. There may be a way to fix with software, so we'll see. All right, in terms of the back camera, the back camera itself is actually pretty good. Quality is very good in bright light situations. Low light performance is nowhere near flagships. Again, that's where you're gonna really see the difference between a very good flagship versus like a budget Android phone. But in terms of the camera, the hardware is not bad. So, you know, you get some decent bokeh. Close-up shots can be very, very good. But camera obviously needs more work. I don't think BlackBerry ever intended to have a good camera. Especially recording videos in 4K, you have no stabilization. You're not gonna be able to really use it. And even in 1080p, stabilizes pretty horrible. So Max, is BlackBerry good for anything on the camera? All right, if you take a lot of selfies, that is very important to you, this is probably not gonna cut it. Or maybe carry 2 phones. Or maybe you carry your DSLR everywhere. If you need video camera, this is not really gonna work. For example, your daughter is gonna be born next month, and you use this video camera, and I'm telling you, from experience of having a daughter, you're gonna be shaking like mad. You'll be, oh my god! You know what? But I probably wouldn't want to use a smartphone camera anyways. Alright, the back camera, in good lighting conditions, good photos, if that's all you need, the camera will work out for you. But in low light, it's not gonna be that good. You can always pick up like an OG Pixel, the original Pixel, for like, I don't know, like 200 bucks. Buy a used phone for like 100 bucks, you know? And that will outperform a lot of the flagships out right now anyways. Might make sense to actually carry 2 phones. That is another reason why I always carry 2 phones. So yeah, the camera needs work. If anybody tell you this has a very good camera in comparison to anything that's out right now, they're lying to you. All right. This doesn't come anywhere close to the OnePlus 6, Note 8, or even last year's S8, or even this 3-year-old Nexus 6P takes better photos than the Motorola. Sorry, it's not a Motorola. BlackBerry. All right, in terms of performance, the Key2 runs Snapdragon 660, which is basically the slower version Snapdragon is putting out, but will give you better battery life. And that's the reason why BlackBerry chose this. On Antutu benchmarks, you get about 140,000. All right, which is pretty respectable score. Now, this phone is less than 1080p resolution, which means it's not gonna need all that horsepower, all right? But obviously, one of the benefits, you're gonna get very good battery life, very long battery life all day. You could literally type on this all day, have the screen on all day, and the battery will keep lasting all day. All right, you will not have a problem with battery life. The 3500 milliamp hour battery, I've had 0 issues. This phone actually lasts longer than any of my other phones, which is good. BlackBerry focuses on the keyboard. A lot of people want to type all day, so longer battery life, right? No problems there. Speakers are very loud. No problems there. Phone calls. There are some extra nifty features. For example, let's say maybe you're tracking your Bitcoins on Blockfolio app on the airplane, and perhaps you don't want everyone to see how much Bitcoins you have. Maybe you're a Bitcoin millionaire. Then you go ahead and turn on privacy shade. This is actually a great way to hide your portfolio, but still be able to check your stuff in public. So I think this nifty feature is pretty good. And also there is an option, right? You can also use the redactor. And that way you can go ahead and just highlight things that you don't want people to see. All right, you can do that also. Oh yeah, of course, the shortcuts are awesome. When you're in the home screen, you can literally put any of these letters to your shortcuts. For example, C goes to my calculator. So one-handed operation, you can go quickly between calculator and let's say Gmail. If you're using 2 hands, obviously you can use this special key and do the same thing, which is much faster. So I like the option that you can use one-handed and use all your shortcuts. For example, Q will actually go to my camera, all right? And you can program any of these. I still haven't used all of them. So with Blackberry Key2, if you press a shortcut key and it's not assigned yet, you simply go and assign it to whatever you want. So P, I want to go to Pandora, which makes it very user-friendly. All right, another thing I really like, it's really easy to pin apps. For example, you're gonna hand your phone to the police officer or something. I don't know why you would do that. And you don't want him to like hit the home page and do something else. You can just pin the screen and hand it to him. If you wanna get out, it's home and back button. So little nifty features I find that BlackBerry has added, but you try to do this on a Galaxy, it really sucks. You have to literally hit the recents button, and then you have to actually the pen button. And I like how the recent apps are in the grid form. Right, which is really nice. I could just pin it right away really quick. This way you hand your phone to somebody else and they're not going to be able to go and look in other parts of your phone. My review is getting kind of long, and I just really wanted to talk about how I felt about this phone from my own experience. I do have a full review write-up you can also check out, article that's separate from the video. That will cover some of the things I didn't cover in this review, because I don't want to cover everything that everyone else covered. But I felt like the most important point today was the keyboard size. A lot of people were talking about how fast the keyboard is or how slow it is. But if you don't have the right size keyboard, for some people that's going to be really good. For some people, it's going to be really hard. So I think BlackBerry should really think about making two different sizes, especially for the larger crowd, because this is not going to cut it. Even for myself, I have hard time typing. It's very, very cramped. If they can make it just a tiny wider, it would make a world of difference. Or even put it in landscape. I really like that idea. BlackBerry, make a Blackberry Key game. Make a BlackBerry game phone. Man, I think it's gonna kill it because everyone's doing that. The Asus ROG phone's adding keyboard or controls, but keyboard would actually work even better because, you know, gamers are used to using keyboards. I mean, desktop gamers are still using their keyboard, and I think that would be great. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions on anything I missed out on this review, because obviously cannot cover everything, and I don't want to, do leave your comment in the comment box below. Also, I do a lot of Periscopes. You can always ask me questions when I'm doing live. You can join me on my Periscope at ZetoMax on Periscope. And yeah, if you enjoyed my review, you want more reviews like this, make sure to subscribe and make sure your notification bell is on. Otherwise, you won't be notified. I still love it. I'm just saying it could be way better with minor changes or major changes. Landscape, gaming. But yeah, if you're on the fence about getting a BlackBerry, just go to your local store and try it. Don't try it for like 10 minutes. Try it for at least like 30 minutes, an hour. You know what? Just buy it and use it for at least a month. And make sure you can return your phone after a month. Because on a phone like this, you're not going to be able to know how good this is until you use it for a few months. That's why this is not my final review of the Key2, because I feel like I'm still trying to get back into using the keyboard, and it's gonna take me another 2 months. And I type pretty fast on the keyboard. Anyway, I've also got new High on Android t-shirts through Teespring, thanks to YouTube opening up their t-shirt thing. So check that out. I'll have a review on some of the newer t-shirts. I'll have a video on that. Have a great day, and as always, stay on BlackBerry.
Click here to subscribe.